Hello and welcome to Mothering Unedited. I am Sarah Grace Knutson.
And I am Leanne Hulick-Reyes.
And I am Carmen West. And we are bringing you real and raw conversations that honor the mess and the magic of motherhood.
From our radically authentic hearts, we share and discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly about the things that mothers need to talk about most.
To be heard, to be supported, and to be uplifted through authentic, vulnerable connection, so we may all rise together in our motherhood journey.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to Mothering Unedited, where we have had a longer than expected hiatus as I brought this little guy into the world, and not everything went the way that it was expected with respect to coming back. So we've been away a little longer than planned, and that's okay because here we are. So let us have a very excited return and catch up on how things have been going in everybody's lives and what we've learned in the last several months, many months since we were last together. Carmen, why don't you start?
For sure. I can absolutely do that. Yes, welcome back, everyone. It's great to be here again and to see my beautiful friends here. It has been a while, and I'm excited to be back. And this has definitely been an interesting, I'm going to say, year for me in regards to my relationship with my children. I feel like as they get older, so my youngest is now 6, and he is in grade 1 as of September. I found out that with the two of them going to school full time, I'm I'm able to take that time for myself, and it is really necessary. So, um, we had a great summer as well, which obviously they weren't in school over summer, but we were able to travel. My parents have a property at a lake in BC, and we spent almost half the summer there. And it was incredible watching them learn and grow and just the difference between last year and this year. And I mean, as you both know, at any age, the difference between a year is a lot. It can be a lot. And it was really great to watch that. And then as September started, I mean, I didn't really get into a super big flow of things before. In Alberta right now, we have a teacher strike going on. So the kids are home again. And again, that them being home, I think that started last week. So them being home for last week really taught me again. Going into last week, I was full of ideas and energy and excitement about all of the things I could do with them, and learn with them. And then by the end of the week, I was I was missing that little relief of alone time and recharge time that I allow myself. And again, it's going to be learning how to, because they're not always going to be in school, learning how to navigate allowing myself that time and teaching them how to give me that time, even when they're not in school. Because that's important for all of us to learn, I think. So that's a big major thing that's been going on with me for sure. Leanne?
Thank you, Carmen. I was going to ask you, so how do we do that? Yeah, so I like the way you ended there. I know it's carving that space, even if it's a small chunks, maybe through the day or, yeah. I used to not understand this get up before the children, but now I kind of understand that too. Um, it has been a really learning time for me, personally and as Stella's mama. And there's your cat. Um, we went on a trip to BC and went with a girlfriend, and it was an amazing trip. We were at Summit Lake and we went to some hot springs, and I had a lot of fun with Stella, and she had fun with my friend. And so it was a girls' trip, and it was, I don't know, maybe a nice blossoming for our relationship. Just changing the scene because we haven't done a trip like that for quite a while. So it was really, really huge. I'm not sure if I can put it into words. And then we went to Manitoba for a week to visit my family. And I have to say that it was the best trip ever. I know. People say, what happened so differently? And I think that it was my shift in mindset, because I think that in the past, I might not have had like the closeness or the rhythms with Stella and our family. And I think that when I would go home, it was like me and my family and then Stella. And so now it's me and Stella, and then it's connecting with my family. And that might be hard to understand for some people, but it was a major shift in that I wasn't, because we only see them like once a year, maybe twice a year. There's always like trying to make these connections happen. And I don't need to do that. It can be organic, and it can be me in relationship with Stella, and just let it flow with whoever we're with, and how it goes is okay. So that is a big shift for me.
That sounds
So
beautiful though. I love that distinction that you made where now it's you and Stella. I
yeah,
love that. Sorry, continue.
yeah, that's all I have to say. So I think it's about creating um, these rhythms. And so we just went horseback riding. We tend to do this once a year, a trail ride in September. So we did that this year, and it's like, oh, I like that, and I want to keep doing at least something like that once every season. Do you guys do stuff like that?
We don't really. We have the lake, and that's kind of our thing that we do. Um, yeah, we don't really have something like that. That's neat.
It's kind of new for me too. So it's like, oh, so typically at Christmas we would go to the Nutcracker, but we're gonna go to another little live play this Christmas. So I'm like, okay, every season, you know, it's nice to have maybe, I don't know, a ritual or maybe a ceremony, or like just a rhythm of maybe seasonal change. So that's kind of where I'm at. Any thoughts and curiosities about anything that I said?
I really just think it's beautiful how you're really um making the relationship such a priority and seeing it in a different light. I think that's our mindset is so important in that way. It can really change a relationship, just a shift. Yeah.
Yeah, it was big for me.
Yeah. What you were talking about reminded me when you were saying the Nutcracker, reminded me that in June, late June, I took Raina to river dance. I was very excited to take her because she loves to tap dance. And so I thought, I love river dance. I think this is my fourth or fifth time seeing it. I absolutely love it. I love the music. I love everything. And so I was so excited to share that with her. And what happened was we had a very, very busy weekend. We had gone out to help my family on the family farm on the Saturday, and then stayed overnight because it's a 4-hour drive. And then Riverdance was at 2 or 2:30 on the Sunday. So we woke up early, we drove back into town, got home, we got changed and dressed up and ready, and went to Riverdance. And for the first half, I had built this up so much in my mind. And for the first half, I know that she was very tired, but she wasn't excited. And she seemed like she didn't even want to be there. And she, I was starting to feel upset about it. And then intermission happened, and the lady in front of her turned around and kind of gave us a talking to, because apparently she was kicking her seat for the entire first half. And I got really upset. I was not my best self because, again, we were both tired. I understand that she was probably, I mean, she is still learning how to navigate that, obviously. Um, and so I did get upset with her at the beginning, and it kind of, but then I explained to myself of why it was so important for me that she actually really insert herself in the performance and what it meant to me. And once I was able to explain that, it was like me getting upset or angry, um, and having firm words with her really, kind of jolted her into really understanding how important it was to me. But then I was able to pull back, get her something to eat, get her some water, and then really explain it to her. And the second half was incredible. And it's just interesting how those moments can be so important, even though they might not seem that way then. I mean, I think that was important.
Very important. Yeah. You were able to like pivot and shift the energy, or else the whole thing would have felt the same way as the first half.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mama.
Yes, big congratulations. And also what I love about that is that it's highly likely that in her memory, the second half being awesome is what's going to be in her memory as how the event went. The part with the upset might be there too, but however we leave a situation, I think is what ends up being imprinted. So which highlights the importance of repair, even if we can't repair right away, which is you were able to repair right away and have things flow into a harmonious second half, which is super beautiful. But yeah, what a beautiful turnaround to have. And that's a long time for a little body to sit. So
It is.
it is, which
It is.
actually segues a lot into one of the things that I'm navigating right now, which is about little bodies being able to sit or not. As I have navigated this whole new chapter of life with not two, but three kids, one of whom is a baby, and it's actually not the baby part that's been challenging for me over the last, he's 9 months now. It's been 9 months since he was born, so that means it's been 10 months since we were last all together on the screen here. One of the things that's really been unfolding for me is being able to watch my other two kids navigate all of what's going on for them, not just as a result of having a new little sibling and, the jealousies and the insecurities and the upsets that go on as we embark on new journeys that have big changes. It's also that I've been starting to see in my middle child now that it may be of great benefit for me to start seeking some kind of a diagnosis, as she seems to have the type of brain that cannot focus, cannot sit still. And of course, this is one of the reasons I homeschooled in the first place. as I knew that I was that child. And I didn't realize how much I was that child until she's 6 years old right now, until I started seeing all of this emerge really in her in a way that it's starting to affect her relationships, and being in like almost a constant fight or flight state because there's so much stress in her little body. And as I'm navigating this with her, my own inner child is coming up and saying, "This was me too. This was me too." And so I've been really in a place of looking at the differences between how we can approach these things, 40 years ago versus now. Um, but also really wrestling with this unwillingness to get a diagnosis for something because I absolutely do not want for some kind of label to imprint itself into her self-image and her self-identity and have her believe I'm a person who has this quote unquote disorder, because it is the one that ends with the word disorder. And I have been seeking far and wide a different word to use because I don't necessarily see it as a deficit. I don't see it as a disorder. I see it as a different kind of brain. And there are loads and loads of this different kind of brain showing up in our world these days. And maybe there are some, contributing factors like environmental toxins. And maybe there are some contributing factors like just the fact that we are supposed to live outside. But the this brain is probably way more of a hunter-gatherer brain who was meant to be out in the woods doing immediate activities like climbing and running and not sitting and not reading. And although, I mean, she can read absolutely wonderfully great, but she doesn't want to sit and read. So she like is crawling around the room and reading and jumping and crashing into the bed and reading. And so I've had to get really into there's two sides to this coin. I've had to get really okay with, hey, even though she's doing this, she's still listening. Like if I'm reading a book with the kids and once she starts doing it, it's obviously both of them start doing it, like leaping across the room and crashing onto the bed, that they're still listening. They are. And that their bodies actually need to be doing this activity in order for them to be listening. And for me, I learned to doodle. I learned to doodle instead. And that was my coping mechanism, which is a wonderful coping mechanism because I'm a highly creative type, and both of my bigger kids are highly creative types, and especially my daughter, who is the one in question here. Um, so um, I learned to doodle instead so that I wouldn't get in trouble. So doodling became a coping mechanism for me because my body needed to be doing something other than just sitting there while I was listening. And there is actually, I know now, great amounts of evidence showing that people who need to doodle while they listen actually take the information in better while they're doodling than if they're not. It's like it gives your brain that extra thing to do because otherwise, I know my brain would be like popcorn. And oftentimes, while we're even sitting recording the podcast together, my right hand is doing something completely different, and it helps me be able to listen. So I'm being able to see that in her, except she needs so much big active movement. And so I'm learning a lot about sensory systems and vestibular input and proprioceptive input. And I know a lot of parents out there listening will find that familiar. And if you don't know about that and you do have kids that need to like spin and crash, look up sensory input because it's very, very important. And I mean, all kids need to spin and crash to a certain point, but it's like if you have the kid that it seems like their bucket is never full, um, it's it's vestibular input, which is a type of sensory input, and what was the other one? I just said it. Proprioceptive, that really needs to be filled up in their nervous system in order for them to be able to come to a state of calm. Um, what I have been learning is absolutely amazing. And then at the same time, I'm navigating that I didn't get any of those things. So there's like the little girl in me who didn't have her needs met because the supports weren't there at the time, the understanding wasn't there at the time. And I mean, I have wonderful parents, but that doesn't mean that everybody understood all of this stuff. And so even sending in the request for a diagnosis was just like this heart-wrenching thing for me. So I'm navigating all of that right now. And it's actually taking the forefront overall everything else. We're homeschooling still. The teachers' strike is not affecting us a lot. The biggest thing is that there's just more kids around for my kids to play with in the neighborhood because they're not all at school. So for me right now, that's actually pretty cool because when summer ended, it was like a rude awakening for my kids that suddenly they were the only two kids in the neighborhood. And when we went to the park, nobody was there. Of course, we go to loads of homeschool gatherings and stuff, but none of those are like at the neighborhood playground. So that's really what's been going on with me. But there is never stillness in my house. And even asking for stillness actually creates stress. And so, Carmen, I was listening to you talk about creating those moments for yourself because your kids are at school now. And I'm like, whew, where is that even ever going to come from for me? It's really real, even though I am the very first person to tell everybody else in the world, put on your own oxygen mask first. And do you think I can do it? I'm going to get there. I know I will. Thanks for everybody's patience, by the way, while Lucian had a little bit of a change of plans. He was super happy to hang out for a little while until he wasn't, but Dusty came and took him. So,
Thank you for sharing your real and raw journey.
mhm.
Um, I don't know where to start, but I'm writing, I'm taking notes too, because if I don't, I can't keep it all in. And you said something at the very end here that was really profound, and I didn't write that down, but the stillness. And oh, yeah, at different times in our lives, there is more space and less space to create that time and attention for ourselves. And sometimes it's just not going to be possible. So I think the only way through that is when we can, we should, and not should, but when we can, we do take time for ourselves. And if we can't take large buckets of time, maybe it's just like hiding in the bathroom, and really, because
Hiding in the pantry to have a granola bar so that nobody else asks me for one.
yeah. So I do understand your journey, Sarah, because I walked it. And this diagnosis thing, there's the logic part of it, and then there's the emotional. So it's the logic is fine, and the diagnosis could help. Then I was told, oh, you should get a diagnosis because then you can get support in school, in the public school. And so that's why I did. And then the comment was, oh, perfect. You have exactly the right support that for the situation. And it was not correct, because I was told that there will never be anyone here who can help my girl with learning the buttons on her device. And so it's a communication system, and it's called AAC, Augmentative Communication System. And there was going to be no one ever in who could, in whatever system, it doesn't matter what system, whatever, like school board system, there would be no one who could ever learn that system so that they could help her learn. So how is she supposed to communicate? So like, it's just heart-wrenching, but that's why we pursued a diagnosis. And the logic, that's the logic, and the emotion of it. And I have found, okay, so disabled, like, it is, I despise that word. It is like, it is not serving any of us, the society, or our hearts, or our children. So I use differently abled. And I also say people who interpret the world differently. So
Love
those
that.
that is what I use, because that is how it is. And the way And this brings up my journey as well, and I'm 15 years in. So the way I talk and the way I be and the way I do is how she will be. And then I'm dropping little little nuggets of light and love as I walk the path with her. And people can pick up a little nugget or they might not. So there's people who will try to understand, and there's people who don't understand and will never even be able to wrap their minds around it. And it is what I have learned is that I must go where the energy is
Yeah.
and take nothing personally.
Yeah.
I also have something to add to this topic, actually. Sarah, I intimately know how you feel. I think, I mean, my interpretation of it, because both of my children have gone through this because of what Leanne said in the public school system wanting to be able to give the proper supports. Now, for my daughter, who is older, this was in kindergarten, and her teacher and I didn't really see eye to eye. So it was very difficult, in my opinion, to trust what she was asking of me. And I mean, I grew up in a very natural household. Um, my mom's homeopath, and we did as much things the natural way and as we could. Plus, um, as a homeopath, you don't diagnose a thing. You don't
Mhm.
you diagnose the person. Like you every body is different. So it's not a thing, it's what that person is um
I want to put a word in for you. It's expressing.
expressing. Yes, that's a good word. Thank you. At the moment. Um so I was brought up that diagnoses in the way that the world is accustomed to are not necessarily the way I would go about things. And so when my daughter was recommended to get diagnosed, um, I was very, very resistant. I did end up taking her to a pediatrician to appease the public school system. And then actually, I wasn't the one who went because this was prior when other things were happening in the world, and I
Hmm.
was not feeling my best. So my husband actually took her, and I was on FaceTime video. And I completely checked out. Honestly, I thought it was bull and I didn't want to listen to it. And I never took her back. And then for kindergarten, my son had a teacher that I really respected and trusted, and who really worked with him and was amazing with him. And she also asked that I do this. And it was my second time around, so my feelings were a bit different about it. The initial shock, I think, had kind of worn off. And I think also because I trusted her a lot more, I was much more willing. And so we did take him, or I did, in the summer. This time it was me. And he was so my daughter was never actually diagnosed. It was let's wait and see. He was diagnosed in that appointment. And after talking about it, and I think some of the research that you're doing, I didn't do a lot of research beforehand because, again, I was like, this is bull. And so I'm happy that you're doing that. So it was explained to me even more about how it is. How did you put it, Leanne? People who interpret the world differently. I love that.
Yes, that's
How,
beautiful.
so it was more explained to me in that way. And how she explained it to him was that he had a superpower. which I loved.
That's absolutely the route that I want to go. And I
Yes.
want to make sure that I'm always aligned with like occupational therapists or play therapists who do frame it that way.
Yes.
100%.
And the other thing that she assured me was that um, medication is not where we start. And even if medication is recommended, it's always my choice.
I would, yeah, I wouldn't go that route.
I
Um,
wouldn't either. So that's the other reason I was really nervous about
yes. Yeah.
that.
And our pediatrician also said the same thing to me. It was mid appointment when my daughter could not, we were just having like a routine checkup. It's been actually years since we had one, because of things that were going on in the world. And then I was like, wow, it's been a long time since we've been to the pediatrician. I might want to keep our existing pediatrician, so I should probably make an appointment. Plus, I have a baby, so I was doing just his sort of baby visits. And it was mid-appointment that I suddenly looked at my daughter and was like, wow, she actually cannot stay in the chair. She was climbing all over the table, climbing in the windowsill. And then, of course, it excites my son, and then they're both doing it. But left to his own devices, he would actually just sit there. And it was totally her. He would have a different diagnosis if I was seeking one for him. It would be more in what used to be called high functioning on the spectrum. And I don't think they call it that anymore either. And I don't even necessarily try to keep up with all of the advancements in how all of these things are talked about in the world. I just know my kids. And I do find it helpful sometimes to have the labels in order to communicate a set of traits to another adult. But I really feel like that's when it comes to kids, that's where it should end. And I mean, other people might have a different feeling about that than I do, but that's really where it is in my heart and why I have not sought any diagnoses, even though they could get me supports, even though they could get me supports that make it possible for me to live the life I'm trying to live. And I know several families who have ended up being able to get respite care because of diagnoses, which all of a sudden makes it possible for mama to have that time. And so it is. It's a really interesting and challenging to navigate thing that is tender and close to my own heart. One of the things that's different for me is that I'm if I had received diagnoses as a child, other than some of the therapies that I did through, which were more for like abuses that happened to me, but I never had any kind of treatment or assistance with the way that my brain was working in the world and like executive function and my relationship with time and things that I have ended up struggling with for my entire life. Things that I actually ended up being able to master my executive functioning and my relationship with time and being self-employed and freelancing for other people and schedule management and all of these things before having kids. And then I had kids, and all of a sudden, it's all gone. Chaos all over again. And keeping my house organized, my thoughts organized, it's all gone. I'm like, I gotta be fully honest with you. And I am the first person to, again, say, what you put out in the world is gonna be every cell in your body is listening to you. But you know what? It's a mess. It's a mess around here. It's a mess in here. And so I'm like, how can I be the person to guide her into learning executive function when she's little? And how can I be the person to guide her into learning about having a relationship with time? And that's one of the things I'm seeing with her so much is that her relationship with time is like, there isn't one. Everything's now, everything's right now. And if I say, we're going to do that tomorrow, then it's just like, oh, that means I'm never going to get to do it. And I'm like, no, I just said we're doing it tomorrow, but there is no tomorrow to her brain. And so And we always also, there's such a weird dichotomy here because we're always like, live in the moment. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't dwell on yesterday and don't worry about tomorrow. And that's really where she is. She is 100% in the moment, 100% of the time, but that actually doesn't work in time space, right? Like it's a beautiful spiritual concept and it's very, very important to be like as a mindfulness thing to be in the present moment, but we also need executive function. Like it has to be both. And so, which brings me to, I'll stop after this and give you guys another turn, but I said I was looking for ways to communicate to her, maybe even with the four letters ADHD, without making it some horrible thing that is negative or broken or any of these icky feelings that come along with it. And actually saw I follow a lovely gal called Sister Shanti on Instagram, and she posted today. She's super like highly awakened spiritual. She posted today about having ADHD for her whole life. And I felt so seen, first of all. But she also, on the very last slide of her post, said, what was it? Attention dialed in to higher dimensions. And I was 100% like, yes, this is how I can talk to Finley about it. And this is how I can talk to my daughter about it and help her to understand that this is just a different way of walking through the world. And we still need some extra help learning how to walk through this world while we're dialed in to higher dimensions.
Uh-huh. So, I just can't believe that this is coming up for you guys because I never thought like I could relate to most people's journeys, you know.
Mm,
And I have 15 years experience, okay? And researching is really good. Um, I didn't do that either. I was not as calm and grounded as you guys are at this moment, so I'm very happy for you. Congratulations. I was scared and trying to control. And what ADHD, I would say, is that like it's about paying attention to what really interests you. And so I like that as well because not willing to do things that are just like not even in the realm. And I know that like in like past generations, you just do things because even though you don't know why, you don't ask any questions and you just live and then you lose your light. And so these beautiful children are coming to say, I am not going to be reformed. I am going to do this my way. And they are here to teach us. And I've heard you say quite a few things that you are the first to say this, but that doesn't work. Okay. And you're first to say that it take time, but you can't, right? So this is actually building our capacity in understanding other people's paths that sometimes we like the phrase is just not going to work for people, and it's actually they are a mirror for us and they are here to teach us, so they are the guide, and they're here to help us learn whatever we needed to learn that we couldn't learn before they arrived. And God, it was hard for me, and I'm learning. And so and I can say that now we have this different kind of beautiful rhythm. And because Stella uses the device to communicate, connection to me is defined differently. It's not about talking things out, it's more about looking, reading energy, and connecting by doing activities together. So it is a unique journey for every like relationship with every child because they're so unique, and the beautiful thing is that they're here to teach us and the rest of the world, and we become a teacher of the world as we walk through this in shining our lights or allowing them to shine their lights because they are changing the world for all of us.
It's
thank you.
beautiful. It's so interesting because as Sarah was talking, I was thinking about a lot of things that you've said, Leanne, over the podcast, and how your relationship with your daughter has shifted and changed, and how your perception of the relationship has really shifted and changed. And I love that you talk about them being the guide and teaching us, because that's so true. I mean, I'm not the most patient mom, but I'm learning it. I'm learning to be more patient. I am not, I mean, I like to do things my own way all of the time. And that's not always possible. My husband gives in to me a lot. Or we just don't do things together, like if we're working on a project. Um, but that doesn't work with kids. That doesn't work with your children. You need to really learn a new way. I'm always learning and growing, and everything's a stage. I mean, Sarah, you do know that. I know you have a newborn now, and things will change and things will get easier and different, and you're learning a brand new family dynamic right now, and it will change faster than you know, and it always seems long when you're in the moment, but it will shift and get better. And that is what this past year for me has been about. It's really a lot of the family life for me has calmed for the majority of the time. There's definitely not calm moments. It's definitely high energy impact moments where I'm not my best self, or we've been staying up later. So everyone's hungry, tired, all those things. And then the dynamics aren't the best, but as far as energy flow goes, I mean, the feeling now compared to the feeling a year or a year and a half ago, even, huge difference. So just know everything is shifting and moving.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you, Carmen. And it actually reminds me of a way that what you've just expressed has already showed up for me in a way that I've actually been very conscious of. I have a friend who, similar to me, had two kids that were fairly close together and then a larger gap. And then the third one came. And before this baby came, about 2 weeks before he was born, she said to me, Sarah, third babies are the best. And like without playing favorites and without anything being about like who they are, she was just like, no, third babies, it's the best. And I was like, tell me what you mean by that. And she was like, I don't even know how to explain it. They're just the best. And then once he was here, I suddenly realized what she meant. And I've checked in with her since and like, is this what you were talking about? And it's that, okay, with first baby, we're trying to figure it all out because this is all new. And with second baby, it's like, putting the finishing touches on, or like learning things the deeper way, but it's like, it's not brand new. But by the time third baby comes around, it's like I know how to do all of the baby things. I know how to like nurse. I know how to deal with all the things that come along with diapers and like even rashes or eczema or all of those things. So it's or sicknesses or fevers or all of that. It's not this big learning curve anymore. But the other thing is I know how quickly each stage is going to pass now, which really makes me motivated to just juice it for absolutely every moment that it is, because I know how fleeting everything is now, which is allowing me to deepen into the experience even more. And I mean, even still, I blinked and he's 9 months old. And I mean, everybody says, what's the saying? The days are long, but the years are short, or maybe it's the other way around. The years are short, but the days are long.
Yes,
And
that's it.
it is like when you're in certain stages with the first babies, And even when they're older and we're reaching the new stages with them, it's the first time we're going through it. So there's this intense learning curve. But with the third baby, it's just like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, let's remember the beautiful parts of this. And um, the other thing that you said about over the past year, things kind of finding more calm in your world. Your kids are both the same age as mine.
Mhm.
And you just have mine is the older son, younger daughter. Yours is the older daughter, younger son. But I have found that this age between 8 and 9, and he's about to turn 9, there has been such a leap in maturity that almost feels like it makes all the previous ones pale in comparison, which is a huge thing to say because every year is a huge leap in maturity. But I feel like this 8 to 9 year has been a leap in maturity where I feel like he's understanding the world from a much deeper place, which makes him way less reactive. And not that there's not still moments of extreme reactivity, but it's not what it used to be. So I'm experiencing that as well. I mean, they still end up triggering each other a lot. And I'm really seeing right now how the thing that's asking for a diagnosis plays into that. Because it fuels her reactivity. So, like, learning how to navigate each kid's nervous system is basically what it comes down to. Not just like because the nervous system is such a huge piece of this as well. But yeah, this the level of calm that can happen, I can see the potential for it, even though just a few minutes ago I said there's never any silence in my house and there's never a quiet moment. And but I see how he is actually seeking out the quiet moments now. He will actually go pick up a book and just go read. Or if he's bored, he's not begging for dopamine-inducing television. He's like, "Can you put on an audiobook in my room for me?" And so that's been a huge change as well. And yes, Leanne, you're muted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I just wanted to ask Carmen, why do you think it's more calm? Why do you think it's more calm?
Why do I think it's more calm for me? I think a lot of what Sarah is saying about the maturity, that's a definite thing with my oldest. I found that the biggest shift with that was between, well, I would have said initially grade kindergarten and then grade 1, but then I would say over every summer something like that happens. I feel like summers for us are big. I don't
That
know,
is the
just being
growth period
outdoors
of the
and
world.
being in nature. Yeah, like kids and adults thrive in that. We need to do that more often. Um, so I would say that's a big thing. And also, um, my kids have both really learned that they enjoy reading graphic novels. And so instead of choosing a screen all the time or choosing loud, sometimes they'll choose that. Not all the time. And especially with my 6-year-old, uh, not often. But if suggested, it can happen. And to me, that's calm. And I think why I perceive that as calm is because that's what I love to do. I love to sit there with a hot drink and a blanket and read my book. I love that. And I love that the kids, I just hit my microphone, but sorry about that. I love that my kids see me do that.
I like to ask you the question, is it possible that you have changed and that has created more calm?
Mm, probably.
Yes, my dear.
Yes,
Because you're the
Leanne, you're
energy,
probably very correct.
yeah, you're the energy creator and the energy holder. So, as you said that the first child you were like, absolutely no, not even going to consider it. And then for the second child, you did consider it. And so there's this something that has changed in you.
Yeah, I actually, that's a really, I think, important and valid point. What even the example that you just used, to allow ourselves to go with the flow and understand that, again, I'm not relinquishing all control. I still can kind of, you know, allow the flow to go a certain way. I don't have to just give up and say, fine, I'll do it your way, you know,
Well, it's the
compromise.
difference between guiding and controlling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even though they might be our guide, we are also guiding them. So it's maybe
It's
like,
co-creation.
yeah, and I used to think I was supposed to be the leader because I was the adult. And so that's the impression we were all given when we
Mm-hmm.
were kids as well. And there was no way that was going to work with my girl. So, and then finally, when I decided I did not know what I was doing, it was the biggest, best freedom of my whole life because then I could relax because
Mhm.
I didn't know what I was doing. And I was like, and it wasn't easy. So I was trying to make it all happen inside of me. So then I was starting to observe and listen and look. So that is,
Can I ask a question? You say when I realized I did not know what I was doing, it was the greatest freedom. Was there also a component to that of I don't have to know what I'm doing?
yes,
Because otherwise, just the first part, I could see actually sending somebody into a spin. I don't know what I'm doing could land on either end of the line there, but I don't have to know what I'm doing. It feels like where the freedom would be to
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, like as women and mothers, we're like the idea is we're supposed to be controlling all this. We're supposed to be teaching them, you know? So how am I supposed, and I only had the skills that my mom gave me in teaching, like, so, and that was not going to work for my girl. So it was about like letting go of textbook stuff and feeling my way forward. So that I've mentioned that before. We feel our way forward because it's about this inner trust and then and then looking to see her inner trust of herself and then yeah. So
Yeah.
mhm.
What just came popped into my head as you were saying that is, for a long time I thought, well, if I don't do it right, then it's all my fault. If my, I'll screw up my kids and that's all my fault. Do I think of my mom that way? Absolutely not. My mom was doing the best she could with what she had, and I absolutely adore my mom. So why put that on myself?
Yeah, beautiful.
Ah,
I have no idea how long we've been recording. I did not look at the clock when we started, but that just was a huge exhale for all three of us, which makes me think we're there. It was a beautiful coming together of, we had no idea what we were going to talk about today.
no.
I just said, hey, it's time. Let's just hop on Zoom and hit record. And so that's what we've done. And what a beautiful sharing and coming
What
together has come out of it. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to share while I was listening to Carmen, and it just escaped me for a moment, but it came back. And it was also as a result of what you said, Leanne, about feeling our way forward. Earlier, I said, how can I be the person to help my daughter learn executive function if I'm not being able to do it myself? And time relationship with time, if I'm not being able to have a functioning relationship with time myself, how can I be the one? But I don't need to do it for her. I can do it with her. We can learn together. And that in itself is one of the best ways for her to know that she's not alone.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that has happened in the past was she was going down a really like nobody loves me kind of rabbit hole. And I fell into the trick of thinking I could help her change her thinking in the moment, which of course didn't work. She just felt unheard. And um, I ended up just completely opening up to her and saying, and Carmen, what you shared earlier about the moment when you were frustrated with your daughter at the river dance reminded me of this, of when I just sat down and I was like, listen, honey, the reason why I don't want you to think those things is because I thought those things for my whole life, and I don't want you to be learning how to unthink it when you're in your 40s. I want you to learn it now. And the reason I'm so intent on helping you shift out of it is because I don't want you to hurt yourself with these thoughts for your whole life. And it was that opening up and just being totally raw with her that actually caused her to catapult into my lap and say, "You're the best mommy ever." And up until that moment, she was just like, "You don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it." And I was like, "No, I get it. That's why I don't want you to think that." And so I feel like our way forward with this new thing is going to be that. And there's going to be tears,
Mhm.
but we're going to do it together. So
Um, I just must add this. She picked you
I
be-
know.
because you could help her. And
Yes.
so you can help her. And I have like goosebumps right now.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah,
It's
because
it's in my chapter, the fires of surrender and the waters of birth. That's one of my chapters in one of the collaborative books that was in Heal. I don't remember if I'm in Heal 2.0 or 3.0, but it'll be on my website. And the whole story of how she picked me is in there. And I know it to be true. And sometimes right now I'm like, why did you pick me? But there's those thoughts that I don't want her to be hurting herself with showing up in me again. But I know how to work through those.
and this is your opportunity to heal you too. Like
Yes,
as you said, it's just incredible. Like this, it is divine. This is all divine.
it is. And
Yeah.
that's true for all of
All
us.
all of us.
All of us sitting here talking to each other, all of us listening, all of us. It's true for all of us.
It is true for all of us.
Okay,
Yes.
now we're there.
Now we're there. Thank you.
It's been so awesome to spend this time with you ladies again. I missed you so much.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. And you will hear from us again more quickly this time than last time. Until next time, be amazing. Be fully who you are in your relationship with your children. Be raw, be real, be wonderful. And we'll
Just
see you
be.
next time. Thank you so much for joining us today on Mothering Unedited. We are so grateful to have you here with us and are excited to connect with you in whatever way works for you, whether that's through one-on-one coaching or exploring the other works we have created and continue to offer mothers, parents, and the world. Follow us on Instagram at mothering_unedited. To find out more or connect further with any of us, you'll find Sarah at soul-birth.ca, Leanne at coachingwithleanne, that's leanne.org, and Carmen at carmenwist, carmenwiste.com. Until next time, may you find your brave to share your unedited authenticity and honor yourself through the mess and the magic of motherhood.